All right, so today we're going deep, really deep into the mind of Charlie Munger.
Oh, fascinating guy.
Yeah, and to do that, we're going to be unpacking a conversation that he had
Okay.
back in 2017 with Scott DeRue,
Okay.
who was then the dean of the Michigan Ross School of Business.
All right.
So you ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
Okay, so to really understand Charlie Munger, you kind of have to go back to the beginning, right?
Yeah.
His early years.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, the guy was born in Omaha, Nebraska,
Okay.
back in 1924.
Wow.
Right in the middle of the Great Depression.
That's a long time ago.
It is. And, I can't even imagine
Yeah.
what it would have been like to
Right.
grow up
Yeah.
during that time.
Well, and he talks about it a lot, actually.
Does he?
Yeah. Munger has said many times how the Depression just completely shaped his whole outlook
Really?
on everything.
Mm.
Seeing firsthand
Yeah.
how people struggled,
Yeah.
but also how resilient they were. Really instilled in him a deep appreciation for financial stability.
Yeah.
He even remembers people
Really?
coming to his family's door,
Wow.
asking for food.
That's a powerful image.
It is, and it's interesting how he connects that experience, right,
Yeah.
to his views on societal issues.
Oh, okay.
So, for example, he often talks about
Okay.
the crime rates back then
Okay.
compared to modern-day Los Angeles,
Uh-huh.
and how crime was surprisingly low
Really?
during the Depression.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
It is. It kind of makes you wonder,
Yeah, for sure.
what really drives human behavior.
It does, right. Does hardship make people
Right.
more likely to commit crimes?
Right.
Or does it do the opposite?
Exactly.
Hmm.
It's fascinating.
So I'm curious,
Yeah.
how did his family respond to those tough times?
Well, his family, especially his grandfather, who was a federal judge,
Okay.
they really emphasize looking out for each other. There's a story about Munger's grandfather actually using his personal mortgages to save his son's bank.
Wow.
Yeah, talk about family values.
That's serious.
It is.
Wow.
And it really shows the importance they placed on supporting each other,
Yeah.
especially financially.
Yeah, you can definitely see how that sense of responsibility and that financial prudence
Right.
would shape Munger's worldview.
Totally.
But it wasn't just about money, was it?
No, not at all.
I mean, his family, they also really emphasized education and intellectual curiosity.
Absolutely. His grandfather was a huge believer in rationality
Okay.
and would even call it a moral duty
Oh.
to constantly sharpen your mind.
Mm.
And that's a theme that really comes up again and again throughout Munger's life.
Does it?
Yeah, this pursuit of knowledge and continuous learning. He's always reading,
Oh, yeah.
connecting ideas from different fields.
Wow.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, so from these formative experiences
Yeah.
in Omaha, Munger ends up at the University of Michigan.
Okay.
And get this,
Well,
he decides to study math.
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 Wow, that's surprising.
It is a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't necessarily
You wouldn't think.
expect that from a future investor.
Right, right.
But what's even more interesting is
Yeah.
he chose math because it was the easiest subject for him.
Oh, wow.
He could just master any math course
Great.
without even breaking a sweat.
Huh. Just shows you.
It does, right?
Yeah.
That you don't always need advanced math to be successful in business.
Yeah.
He's often said that.
Right. He's all about the fundamentals.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
basic principles.
Yeah.
You don't have to overcomplicate things.
So then World War II comes along,
Oh, yeah.
and Munger finds himself serving as a meteorologist
Wow.
in the Air Force.
That's a pretty big change
It is, right?
from college life.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then after the war, he follows a familiar path for his family. Goes to Harvard Law School.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But here's the twist.
Okay.
He got in without an undergraduate degree.
Really?
Yep.
That's not easy to do.
It's not. That's pretty unconventional.
It is. It really shows his determination
Yeah.
and, that willingness to forge his own path.
Yeah. He's not afraid to go against the grain.
Not at all.
He eventually transitions from a very successful law career into the world of investments,
Okay.
driven by a desire for greater independence.
That makes sense.
Doesn't it? It seems like he wasn't a big fan of climbing the corporate ladder.
He's always been his own man, that's for sure.
Yeah, and he achieved great financial success.
Yeah.
But it sounds like his initial motivation
Yeah.
wasn't just about the money. It was
Huh.
about freedom.
Right. Control over his own destiny.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And this brings us to that fateful meeting with
Yes.
Warren Buffett.
All right. Here we go.
In 1959,
Yeah.
a partnership that would revolutionize investing.
What always amazes me about their partnership
Yeah.
is how they both brought different strengths
Absolutely.
to the table.
It's like the perfect match.
It is.
Yeah.
They were both brilliant,
Yeah.
but in very different ways.
Yeah. And somehow
It's incredible.
their collaboration just created something so remarkable.
It's amazing.
So initially, Buffett was really focused on a strategy
Okay.
of buying these undervalued companies, right, that were kind of on the verge of collapse.
Okay.
He called them cigar butt businesses.
Cigar butt.
Yeah, like getting that last puff
Gotcha.
before they went out.
Okay.
So not exactly a glamorous approach.
No, not really.
But it did yield some early success.
It did. Yeah.
However, Munger saw the limitations of this strategy.
Okay.
Right? He knew that for truly sustainable growth, they needed to focus on companies with really strong fundamentals and long-term potential.
Right.
Not just ones that were temporarily undervalued.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So he was thinking long-term.
Exactly. He was playing the long game.
Smart.
And that's something that we're going to see again and again throughout Munger's career.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear more about it. He really pushed Buffett to move away from those cigar butts. You know, to shift their focus. And that became like a cornerstone of Berkshire Hathaway's success.
Interesting.
They started investing in really high-quality businesses with durable competitive advantages.
Okay.
And they also had this belief in like a hands-off management style.
Oh, really?
Yeah, trusting the existing leadership within the companies.
That's an interesting approach.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
To trust the people already there.
Yeah, instead of coming in and shaking things up.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what most people do.
Right, exactly.
But not them.
So they just kind of let them
pretty much
keep running things the way they were.
They had faith in the people they were buying from.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, and it worked incredibly well for them.
Yeah, apparently so.
Munger often talks about the importance of having experienced leaders in place.
Okay.
He calls them the old dogs.
Old dogs.
Old dogs.
Okay.
He believes they bring this wealth of knowledge and wisdom.
Right.
They can't just replicate.
Institutional knowledge.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't just bring in some hotshot MBA.
Exactly. It takes time.
And expect them to
build that up.
Yeah, to understand.
To live it.
The nuances of a business.
Absolutely.
So it sounds like he's a big believer in the value of experience.
He is.
Not just chasing after the latest trends or the hottest new CEO.
Nope. Giving the old dogs any day.
All right, so he likes his old dogs.
He does.
But I'm guessing he doesn't think you can just rely on the old dogs forever.
Right, you need to bring in fresh perspectives.
Yeah, of course.
You need some young blood.
Younger talent.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's a balance.
Finding the right mix.
Exactly.
Okay.
You need both.
So it's not about dismissing new ideas?
Not at all.
Or approaches altogether?
No.
Okay.
He actually tells a great story.
Oh, does he?
About Ajit Jain.
Okay.
Who built Berkshire Hathaway's reinsurance empire.
Okay.
Now, Jain was relatively new to the insurance world when he joined the company.
Okay.
But he clearly had a knack for it.
Okay.
And with Buffett's guidance,
Yeah.
he ended up creating immense value for the company.
So they saw something in him.
They did.
Yeah.
They saw potential.
Even though he didn't have decades of experience.
Yeah. And they gave him the space to drive.
It sounds like they were good mentors.
They were, yeah. They were the best.
That's great.
The great example of that.
Yeah.
You know, being open to new ideas.
And recognizing potential.
Exactly.
Even if it comes from someone who's not maybe the most experienced person in the room.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be an old dog.
Doesn't have to be, yeah.
To have great ideas.
So we've talked about his early life.
Yeah.
His career path.
Yeah.
This partnership with Buffett.
Right.
And it seems like a lot of it revolves around.
It does.
This idea of challenging conventional wisdom. Forging your own path.
Yeah.
Focusing on the long game.
Absolutely.
Am I on the right track here?
You are spot on.
Okay, good.
But we've only just scratched the surface.
Oh, is that right?
Of Munger's thinking.
Okay.
He has really fascinating perspectives on everything.
Oh, wow.
From technology to politics to, believe it or not, the importance of choosing the right spouse.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued.
Yeah.
Give me some more of these Munger wisdom nuggets.
All right, let's dive in.
Where should we start?
Well, we can't talk about Munger without talking about his views on Bitcoin.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He's famously not a fan.
Yeah.
Famously not a fan.
To say the least.
He's made his feelings pretty clear.
Yeah.
He's called it everything from a crazy bubble to a bad idea.
It's pretty harsh.
It is.
But it seems like his dislike for Bitcoin stems from this deeper principle, right? Like he's not a fan of get-rich-quick schemes.
No.
Or anything that just feels like speculation.
Right. He doesn't like that.
It's all about creating real value.
Exactly.
Through hard work and discipline.
And building solid businesses.
Yeah.
To him, Bitcoin just feels like the opposite of that.
The antithesis.
Exactly.
Back to fundamentals.
It's about those fundamentals.
Always.
Always. So speaking of fundamentals, he's also had some pretty interesting things to say about tax policy.
Oh, yeah?
He seems to think that reducing the corporate income tax could actually have some positive effects.
Yeah, he cited the success of countries like Singapore, which have much lower corporate tax rates than the U.S. He thinks it could stimulate economic growth.
Maybe even create a wealth effect as company valuations increase.
It's an interesting perspective.
It is.
But I imagine it's a pretty complex issue.
It is. It is.
With a lot of potential downsides as well.
Absolutely. And Munger acknowledges that he doesn't claim to have all the answers.
Of course not.
But he's open to the possibility that it could work.
Okay.
And he's not afraid to challenge the conventional wisdom.
It sounds like he likes to.
Oh, he loves it.
Yeah, poke the bear a little bit.
He does.
Shake things up.
For sure.
He certainly doesn't shy away from complex topics.
No, he doesn't.
And another one that comes to mind is political polarization.
Oh, yeah.
He's been very vocal about his concerns.
Yes.
About the level of hatred and contempt.
It's scary.
Yeah.
In modern politics.
Yeah, it's really sad.
It is. He finds it incredibly troubling.
Yeah.
He sees it as a real threat to our ability to even have, like, reasoned discussions.
Yeah.
You know, and find common ground.
Civil discourse is... Yeah, it's
tough out there.
Disheartening.
It is.
Yeah.
He even warns against getting consumed by anger.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he says when anger comes in, reason leaves.
Oh, that's good.
They're pretty wise words.
Wise words, yeah. It's a good reminder for all of us.
It is.
No matter what side of the political spectrum we fall on.
We all need to hear that.
We do.
It seems.
So we have a billionaire investor.
We do.
Who's skeptical of Bitcoin.
Yep.
Open to unconventional tax policies, and deeply concerned about political polarization.
That's Munger.
That's not your typical profile.
Not at all, and it gets even more interesting.
Oh, really?
When you consider his views on technology.
Okay.
He's actually quite fascinated by it.
I see.
Yeah, and its potential to transform society. He's even pointed out that Adam Smith, the father of modern economics, completely failed to foresee the impact that technology would have on wealth creation.
That's interesting.
And living standards.
That is interesting.
It is.
Yeah.
It shows how quickly things can change.
Yeah. And how even the greatest thinkers can just completely miss the mark sometimes.
They can, yeah.
So what other Munger wisdom nuggets
do
you have for us?
He shared some really insightful thoughts about life in general. Like, for instance, he emphasizes the importance of choosing the right spouse.
Oh, okay.
Calling it like the most important decision you'll ever make.
Wow.
And he also talks about the value of continuous learning discipline and recognizing the role of luck in success.
Yeah.
Which I think is a really important one.
It is, yeah, because luck...
You can't discount
it. It plays a huge role.
It does.
In almost every success story.
Big time.
Yeah, but you can't...
And control it.
You can't control it, but you can put yourself in a position...
One day you're lucky.
You got to be ready for it. Yeah, exactly. So it sounds like he's not just focused on financial success.
He's not.
But on living a fulfilling life overall.
Absolutely. He wants it all.
Well-rounded.
Yeah.
The whole package.
Yeah, and he even offers some counterintuitive advice.
Oh, does he?
He does. He says that aiming low can actually be a better strategy.
Really?
Than setting your sights on becoming a billionaire.
Huh.
Yeah. He believes that focusing on achieving independence can often lead to greater success in the long run.
That's interesting.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's almost like he's saying, don't get too caught up in the hype.
Right.
Focus on building a solid foundation, and the rest will follow.
Exactly.
You know, one of the things that really stands out to me about Munger?
What's that?
Is his ability to connect seemingly disparate ideas.
He's a master at that.
He is, right?
Like a master weaver.
Yeah.
Creating this rich tapestry of knowledge and insight.
So he can weave together his experiences from the Great Depression.
Right.
With his thoughts on Bitcoin. Or draw parallels between business management and political polarization.
It's incredible how he does that.
It's really quite remarkable.
Is.
He's certainly a unique thinker.
There's no one like him.
And it sounds like he has a lot to teach us.
Oh, tons.
Not just about investing.
Right.
But about life in general.
Yeah, about how to think.
Yeah, how to approach problems.
Exactly.
How to make decisions.
And how to live a good life.
Yeah. So what do you think is the most valuable lesson?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's his emphasis on critical thinking.
Oh, wow.
Constantly challenging your assumptions, looking beyond the surface, considering different perspectives.
Don't just accept things at face value.
Exactly. Dig deeper.
Yeah.
Ask questions.
He's not afraid to go against the grain.
He's not.
And he encourages us to do the same.
He does.
And he also reminds us that true success isn't just about financial wealth.
Or climbing the corporate ladder.
No, there's more to life than that.
It's about cultivating wisdom, making thoughtful decisions, and contributing to something larger than ourselves.
That's it.
And maybe even having a little fun along the way.
Absolutely. Gotta have some fun.
Yeah, right?
Life's too short.
Life is too short.
To be serious all the time.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
But there's still more to explore.
There is.
We'll continue our deep dive into the mind of Charlie Munger. After a quick break.
Sounds good.
All right, so we're back, and I'm ready for more Munger wisdom.
Well, there's plenty more where that came from.
All right, so what else you got?
Well, we were talking about Munger's unique way of thinking before. And one thing that really fascinates me is his emphasis on second-order consequences.
Second-order consequences.
Yeah.
Okay, what exactly do you mean by that?
Well, it's about thinking beyond the immediate impact of an action and considering the ripple effects that might happen down the line.
Oh, okay. So like the unintended consequences.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's kind of like playing chess,
Okay.
You got to think a few moves ahead.
Right. Anticipate your opponent's reaction.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
And Munger gives this really interesting example.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. When he talks about U.S.-China trade relations.
Okay.
He acknowledges that, free trade has lifted millions of people out of poverty in China.
Yeah, of course.
Which is a good thing.
Right.
But he also points out that those same policies have led to job losses and economic hardship for certain segments of the American workforce.
Right, so it's a complex issue.
It is very complex.
With no easy answers.
Right.
So he's basically highlighting the unintended consequences,
exactly.
both good and bad.
Right.
That can come from seemingly straightforward policies.
Exactly, and he doesn't pretend to have all the solutions.
Right, he's just encouraging us
to think about it.
Yeah, to have those difficult conversations.
To be nuanced.
Yeah.
And consider all sides.
He even brings up the concept of the tragedy of the commons.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Which I think is relevant here.
It is.
But you're going to have to refresh my memory.
Okay, sure.
What is the tragedy of the commons again?
So basically, it's this economic theory that shows the tension between individual self-interest and the collective good. Like the classic example is a shared pasture. Where each farmer wants to graze as many animals as possible.
Right, because more animals equals more profit. That individual farmer.
And if everyone does that, the pasture gets overgrazed and then nobody can use it.
It's ruin for everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's about how short-term individual gain can lead to long-term collective harm.
Exactly.
Okay, I get it.
And Munger argues that this dynamic plays out.
Oh, really?
In so many areas,
like
from global trade to the environment, even political polarization.
So how do we avoid falling into that trap?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
I think Munger would say the first step is awareness.
Okay.
We got to recognize these patterns and consider the long-term consequences of our actions.
Both individually and collectively.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we also need to be open to dialogue.
Yeah.
And compromise.
Even when it's hard.
Especially when it's hard.
Right.
That's when it matters most.
So it sounds like a lot of what Munger's advocating for is really just about thinking more critically, approaching complex issues with a healthy dose of skepticism and humility.
It's about recognizing that we don't have all the answers.
Right.
And being open to learning from others.
Yeah, he's not giving us like a step-by-step guide to solving all the world's problems, but rather a framework for how to approach them.
Exactly.
In a more thoughtful and informed way.
That's the Munger way.
So after this deep dive into the mind of Charlie Munger, what's the one key takeaway?
Oh, just one.
That you hope our listeners will walk away with?
If I had to pick one,
yeah,
I'd say it's cultivate a curious mind.
Okay.
Embrace lifelong learning.
I love that.
Don't be afraid to challenge conventional wisdom.
Question everything.
Question everything.
Right.
And consider different perspectives.
Yeah, be open-minded. Be open-minded.
That's how we grow.
It is.
Both individually and as a society.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And it's something that Munger himself embodies.
Oh, absolutely.
He's never stopped learning.
Never.
Even in his 90s.
Still going strong.
Amazing.
And, it's okay to admit what you don't know.
Yeah.
In fact, acknowledging your own limitations is a sign of strength.
Not weakness.
It's not weakness at all.
So Munger's philosophy boils down to this.
Okay.
Stay curious.
Uh-huh.
Keep learning.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to challenge the status quo.
That's it in a nutshell. I love it. What do you think?
I'm on board.
Has this deep dive sparked any new ideas for you?
Always. Munger always gets me thinking.
Yeah.
He has a way of cutting through the noise.
Yeah, he does.
And getting to the heart of the matter.
It's all about those fundamentals. He reminds us that true success isn't just about wealth or status.
Right, there's more to life than that.
But about living a life of purpose and meaning.
That's what it's all about.
Well said. I couldn't agree more.
Thanks.
And if this deep dive has piqued your interest,
yes,
I highly recommend checking out Poor Charlie's Almanac.
Oh, it's a great book.
It's a compilation of all of his wit and wisdom.
And great stories.
And a fantastic resource for anyone looking to expand their thinking.
Absolutely.
And don't forget to watch the full interview with Scott Duroux.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one.
It's full of fascinating anecdotes and insights.
You'll love it.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
Into the mind of Charlie Munger.
It's been a fun one.
Until next time, keep exploring.
Keep learning.
And keep challenging yourself to think differently.
That's what Munger would want us to do.